Well, Prabhupada gave the authority, but the problem is, you see, Prabhupada was keenly aware that there were a lot, maybe 2,000, 1,500, 2,000 people that wanted to take initiation from Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, well, okay, I will initiate them. That's what led into that July 9th letter. Yes, I will initiate them. But the devotee said, oh, but Prabhupada, you're taking on karma. We don't want you to have to do that. You'll suffer. Maybe it will kill you. We don't want to do that. Because what they wanted to do is have 2,000 uninitiated people when Prabhupada left, so that they could then initiate them, which is what they did. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada said, okay, then I
We
will
have
make
Ashish
some of
here.
you representative of Charya.
Ashish is here. Ashish is here, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Vashish.
Haribol.
So,
Hare Krishna, Vashish.
yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Hare Krishna,
Rupa Manjari was delighted
Watch out
with your
for
postings
Vashish.
to her.
So, one person at a time, please. One person at a time speak. So,
Okay, I'm
we
going to
got-
sign out and sign back in again, okay?
Okay, all right.
You guys can solve the world's problems while I'm gone.
Welcome, Vashish, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
All right.
Always
So,
nice to hear
yesterday-
your voice.
Oh. So, yesterday there was power cut actually. Yeah. Yesterday there was power cut. I couldn't continue the conversation with you, but I saw in YouTube the remaining conversation. So I hope at the end that you managed to come to a conclusion with Prabhu Naman. What happened? Did you talk to him? What did he say regarding your video, Ramchandra Prabhu? What happened actually?
Naman Prabhu. Oh, yeah, we had a discussion, and
Yes.
Naman Prabhu wanted us to remove that part of Prabhupada, like first 40 seconds or something like that. So,
Yeah. And what happened actually?
Concerning what? Oh, you mean Prabhupada, about showing Prabhupada being dumped into a samadhi?
yeah, that part. Yes.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he had an interesting argument. He was saying that Bhaktisiddhanta's argument was he didn't want to discuss any of Radha and Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, meaning the rasa dance and stuff like that, because it was private and confidential. But I was saying to him, well, when you say private and confidential, you mean Bhaktisiddhanta didn't want his disciples to indulge in sahaja sex mentality concerning Radha Krishna's rasa dance. And he said, yes, that's right. Okay, so
Shreya.
So then he tried to transpose that over to how this is an intimate pastime, like the Bhaktisiddhanta said that Radha Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, Krishna's pastimes with the gopis is confidential. Well, I said, yeah, because he didn't want sahajas to exploit them for what sahajas exploit them for, sexual misunderstanding. And he said, yes, he agreed. But then I said, but that's very different. And he said, yes, but it's still confidential. I said, if it's confidential, then why did Prabhupada ask for all of his disciples to come to Vrindavan at the end? I was ready to get on a plane. Everybody was ready to get on a plane. We either had reservations or tickets. We were going to go on the plane and fly to India to be with Prabhupada. And then Satsarup said, no, Prabhupada wants you to stay back and do the Christmas marathon, where you make lots of money. So we didn't go. But the actual fact is, if we had shown up in Vrindavan, 5,000-6,000 devotees showed up in Vrindavan, plus all the Indians that would have flocked, plus so many people, at the end, when Prabhupada entered Samadhi, it would have been the huge procession in India, largely populated by Westerners. It would have been an astonishing thing. So why does he say that it should be private? It's not private. And he would not have been dumped into a samadhi and almost fall down by being yanked by one arm, which is gives me nightmares, actually, because he would have been brought in great ceremony. And I extended the idea, what would a great ceremony look like? I said, well, what about my brother, my birth brother, who was Makanlal, became Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami. When he passed away in the 10th of November of 2020, just a few months ago, they gave him a huge samadhi ceremony. And he was carried on a palanquin, and he was covered with flowers, and there was kirtan, and so many devotees flocked there. For my brother, who? My kid brother, he was not on the level of Prabhupada, I guarantee you. So, and they brought him there and they put him into a samadhi, and it was very great. And I later on publicized, isn't it interesting that my brother, who I honored, who was a sannyasi, and he was put in samadhi, isn't it interesting that his samadhi was so much more opulent? Samadhi ceremony was so much more opulent than that was given to Srila Prabhupada. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Very interesting.
I have a doubt in this.
Now, I, for myself, if anyone were tempted to put me into a samadhi, which hopefully they'll have the good sense not to do, I said what I want is to follow the instruction of the wish of Gorkashordas Babaji. I want my corpse to be taken to Navadvip and to be dragged through the streets and eaten by dogs. That's what I want for myself. So you are all witnesses to that desire. Don't let anyone do anything else.
Okay. All right. So,
but anyhow, do you catch the point?
Bashish
So
Prabhu. Yes.
Just dealing with that one point,
please.
that Prabhupada did not want it to be private. He wanted it to be internationally famous, his entering Samadhi.
Jai.
With all of his disciples there. Can you imagine 5,000 people going back to their temples describing Prabhupada entering his Samadhi? That would not be a private event.
What does Vashish have to say?
He has a third angle that he didn't admit to, which I suggested, but he wouldn't admit to it. And that is, he was thinking about private, like if his grandfather died, you wouldn't publicize that. You know, he's thinking the Hindu idea, you know, my grandfather died, we're not making a public spectacle out of it.
Okay, someone else wanted to say something. Go ahead.
We'd like to hear from Vashish.
Hare Krishna.
We want to hear from Vashish.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I have a doubt in this.
Hare Hare.
Can you just resemble the same example when Ayendra Prabhu died, right? People were like mad behind what, because Ayendra Prabhu was a very great accepted, a very great personality in the devotees. So don't you think his samadhi was going through, it is legitimate because people are like very much attached to him. If they don't see the last rituals, they'll not be satisfied.
I don't quite understand what you're saying.
Hare Krishna.
I think it's
Ramachandra, can you sort of
he has to get the point across where everyone can understand what he's saying.
So I'm saying this, when Ayendra Prabhu died,
okay,
when his rituals happened, so there was various devotees, those who were expecting his final rituals. So in that context, when you say that same, which is, Ayendra Prabhu's rituals were very important because people were like very much worried and attached to him. So don't you think those last rituals recordings are very important for a stature of devotee like Prabhupada and Ayendra Prabhu? Whereas Prabhu is contradicting that point, right? Prabhu is contradicting that the last...
Are you saying that it should have been private or it shouldn't be private?
It shouldn't be private, it should be public because
of course,
like Prabhupada. But you said that, that last ritual which was done for Prabhupada, his body was taken, that was not right.
Okay, yeah. So
He said, and he's saying that part about Prabhupada almost being dropped into the samadhi should be eliminated because he said non-devotees are busy saying stuff about it. But as far as I'm concerned, if you don't want people saying things about it, don't drop Prabhupada by one arm into his samadhi.
Right. That's it. It's very simple.
That's history. What do you want to do? Whitewash what they did? I don't.
Right. Okay.
I mean, we can't look if they want. And I suggested to him also. I said, if you want to have people not mocking how he was put into samadhi, then show my brother's samadhi and say it was Prabhupada's, and show Prabhupada's and say it was my brother's, and then no one will mock. In other words, my brother had a gorgeous samadhi.
Hare Krishna,
that was Prabhupada's ceremony, not my brother's.
Okay. Vashish Prabhu wants to say something. Let him give him the floor, please.
Of course.
Prabhu, yesterday actually when Naman Prabhu was talking something, he was saying his main concern was that people are talking, means people, public, they are passing comments, and that is stupid comments. Okay, that was his first thing actually. People were passing, public was passing stupid comments. This is the first thing.
And behind every famous personality, these things happen. It doesn't affect Prabhupada's stature. He's a very pure devotee, right? It doesn't affect that. People will say, right?
Exactly.
This is material world, so we can't do that, right? Those comments shouldn't affect us.
So what are you suggesting, Vashish? What should we do?
No, actually, it should be as it is. Okay, let the video remain there, because when I saw that video long back, actually this video is very, very, what to say, is very in any person's, and especially if someone is a devotee or aspiring devotee, if he sees that video, okay, he will be greatly moved by this, okay, because this video is not available, and it's not available everywhere. So this video, when anyone will see, especially if he has a little affinity, a little what to say, a little affection or attachment to a movement, or to Prabhupada, or to a devotees, or to a movement, whatever, he will be greatly moved upon saying that. And actually this will be an impetus for him to keep persevering in devotional service. This is my personal experience. I'm saying it quite a long time back. I saw what I said, okay, Prabhupada is, and whatever you are saying, Prabhu, like he was dumped into what samadhi or whatever, because at that time I didn't know much about that poison issue, and the theory about how Prabhupada wanted his initiation, the parampara to be carried. This was not very firmly established in my understanding. Okay, but with time, and at that time when I saw that video, I never thought that Prabhupada was dumped in the samadhi, in that kind of hole. Okay, means in the earth. Okay.
Did you see the video?
Yeah, I've seen the video, but I this thing didn't crop in my mind that, okay, that his disciples,
they were lowering him into the samadhi by the arms. Can you imagine? They didn't lower him in a flower bedecked platform horizontally. They lowered him. They would,
to be honest, okay, you are, Prabhu, let me finish.
Handed him down from the top to the samadhi area by the two arms, and they slipped, and he was dangling from one arm. Why would you treat anyone that way? They didn't treat my brother like that.
Okay, first of all, we don't know, most of us here, we don't know how a samadhi, how this is carried out for a devotee, but for a pure devotee like Prabhupada, okay, the greatest devotee that the world has seen. Okay, most of the people,
5,000 of his disciples to be present, I'm sure they would come up with something better than dragging him there and dangling him down by his two arms.
Whatever you're saying, Babu. Even I was in ISKCON at that time. I didn't know how what to say, a samadhi is being performed. So this is new. I don't know what is being done. Yes, but that thing that almost all of us have in mind, that he was mishandled. I can't even say mishandled because I don't know anything about it. Okay, means how it is being done.
Well, you
He has
just
to be. He has to be.
check my brother's samadhi.
I wasn't there to check your
You'll
brother's
see,
samadhi.
it's very gorgeous. It was very beautiful. Lots of flowers carried through the streets. Prabhupada was dragged through the streets in in something less than a
So for a
rickshaw.
neophyte devotee, that's enough. That video is enough, right? For a neophyte devotee, he doesn't know, right? He's inspired by that. He's so much inspired that he can join the temple, right? Or he
It
can.
sounds like we're the Catholic Church trying to cover up church crimes. Is that right? We're trying to cover up crimes of our church.
That is another thing. Okay, that is another thing. But for a neophyte, not for a neophyte, but for anyone, okay, for anyone new people, this video he won't know because see, even that devotees maybe they were 30, at most 35 years of age. They don't have any experience of how to conduct these things. So okay,
really?
I'm not condoning.
Do you know who performed the Shraddha? Do you know who performed the Samadhi ceremony?
Narayan Maharaj, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Are you saying he had no background? He was picked. Prabhupada chose him to do it.
Whatever, Narayan. But Narayan Maharaj is not a 10 man. He got to expand himself into 10 man or 15 man.
Expert in that sort of thing.
Whatever, Prabhu. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Narayan Maharaj also is not a saint. We know that.
Okay. You and I are on the same page in terms of being horrified, I think, correct?
Yeah.
You're horrified, I'm horrified.
No. Yeah. No, so we are.
My idea is not to cover it up and pretend it didn't happen. My idea is let it be what it is and make a commentary that explains what happens.
Yes. Okay. This further explanation can be given.
Completely transparent.
Yes. It
Transparent.
should be transparent. Yes. For somebody who doesn't know anything, the video will be beneficial. And for somebody who knows the background also, like you were saying, that also is beneficial. So let the video be as it is. That's
okay.
That's the thing.
So why are we so cowardly? We should not be such cowards as to hide what happened.
No, yeah, we shouldn't be cowards.
Poisoned, he's murdered.
In your perspective,
makes the people poisoning him his next in line.
In your perspective, it shouldn't be. We shouldn't hide anything. Everything should be.
Nothing should be hidden. Everything should be out in the open.
Yes, I agree. And what he said also about what Naman Prabhu said about people will pass on negative, silly comments, whatever. I think whoever will pass a silly comments, okay? Whoever passes silly comments, whoever pass any silly comments on the video or whatever,
offense.
Okay?
Silly comments?
Yeah, whatever offense.
From
whatever
the city?
Offense, any. Huh? What did you say?
You're saying nobody has mentioned there's an offense?
No, I'm saying he was saying that in the comments, people were passing silly comments. Like I don't know what kind of comments he's referring.
Oh, they were non-devotees. They would tune in and they would make mocking comments.
Yeah, they will make mocking comments. Actually, these people.
Okay, because you know why? Because Prabhupada's disciples, us, were too cowardly to put a commentary on that, showing that Prabhupada was murdered and then desecrated in his samadhi by a person that wanted to take over the movement, namely Narayan Maharaj.
Yes. Most early people can write this
all
also.
The dirt is coming out now. We don't have to cover it up. Pretend it isn't
maybe I haven't seen the comments personally, but whatever the comments that you're saying, I don't know what comments.
I have not seen them either.
Okay, I haven't seen. So depending on the comments,
not comments by devotees. He said.
Narayan.
These are karmis that are saying, look how these people are treating their guru. Mahaprabhu.
I want to hear what Vashish has to say.
I'm hearing and responding.
Without interruption.
It's all right. It's all right, Mahaprabhu. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
We're having a discussion.
Yes, it's okay. Mahaprabhu, it's okay. So what I was saying, like
Kalmate.
Yes, whatever he was saying, like Naman Prabhu, he's concerned that people were posting negative comments. Like you were saying, devotees actually should have taken the responsibility to counteract these comments. Okay, to answer these comments. This is the first thing. And another thing also is there that whoever is committing any offense or blasphemy or whatever apart they are committing, Krishna will take care of these people. Actually, he will beat them nicely. That in the end, they will come and surrender to Prabhupada.
Hare, Jai.
No, it's a truth actually. It's a truth because you know what? Because I'm a living proof of it. I'm an example of it. First time when I saw Prabhupada or when I saw the devotees also, I had quite some negative feeling about them. And especially Prabhupada also. I still very remember. I was a child actually. I was seven or maybe less than that, 6 or 7 or 5, I don't know. When I saw Prabhupada, I thought he was a god man, like any other persons like Sai Baba. I know. I said okay, another in the list. Okay, I still remember. I was very young. I was very small actually, a child.
That's an amazing story.
But today, I don't say we know the position of Prabhupada, but at least something about Bhagavad Gita, about teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we know, and we can understand a little bit what is the position of Prabhupada. So we don't need to bother much about their stupid people's comment. And of course, if they need to be counteracted,
of course we don't need to. But if it's out in public, we should comment on it, telling the truth. He was poisoned. He was dragged there. His disciples were prevented from coming to his ceremony.
Yes. Means it should.
Do you actually think that in Vrindavan at that year that there was nobody in any of the temples like Banki Bihari or Radha Raman that knew
and
how
Prabhu,
to do
one more thing. You said your brother
ceremony?
also was.
Yeah, but what do you think about that? Is there nobody there who could do a samadhi ceremony in all of Vrindavan?
No, there should have been actually. There should have been. But for me at that time, like you say, I was new to ISKCON when I saw that video. So these things were not in my mind. But yes, just like when you see Prabhupada's body like being mishandled, you'll feel like you will be horrified to see these things. Actually, what to say? But actually, at least if you're horrified to see this, okay, you say like this, such things happen to Prabhupada. It's a kind of you have a feeling towards Prabhupada. At that particular moment, you say, oh, you're feeling towards Prabhupada. Okay, something adds up, I think, to our bhakti, to our attachment to Prabhupada, to our relationship with Prabhupada when we see that video, in whatever way.
Okay, so what's the bottom line? The Siddhanta. What's your Siddhanta, your conclusion? What are you trying to say?
Let's get to the conclusion. Let's not, we got to talk about the July.
Yes, let the video be in.
Okay.
You don't need to alter the video to change it or whatever.
Okay, we got it.
Let it remain like that.
Okay.
So he's saying leave the video as it is.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
Hare
But I
Krishna.
say if you want to do anything, stand forth and describe why. How did that come about in a town which samadhis are very common? I mean, why would the worst samadhi ceremony be taking place for the greatest acharya in a town that knows how to do samadhis? They knew how to do samadhis for Rupa Goswami.
Yes, that's a shame actually on us. That's a shame on us actually. That's a shame on us.
And Vishwanath Chakravarti, they are all there in Vrindavan. And at Prabhupada, they dumped. Interesting, no? And then you're saying that these men that dumped them into the samadhi are now qualified to be Ritviks.
No. no. Actually, Ritvik or whatever, it's a position, Prabhu. It's a position, okay? Just like yesterday, I think you were saying that Prabhupada actually he was recommending some officiating acharyas, okay?
That's
he was recommending. No, you were saying that. You were saying that, and of course,
his language was officiating acharyas.
Yeah,
Kamal asked him, did you follow the conversations or you just read the final order?
No,
if you go into the source material, the conversations themselves,
yes.
Krishna Kant is not even initiated,
Yes. There were many conversations who are supportive actually, who support the 9th July letter actually. When you're saying officiating Acharya, this is a term, the English term, but
That
in its
Prabhupada used.
yeah, but in
Does
its
that
Sanskrit
count?
term,
If Prabhupada uses the
counts.
term, does that count?
Of course it counts.
Okay, so then when Tamal Krishna, what did Tamal Krishna do when Prabhupada said officiating Acharya? What did Tamal say?
He said I think he said Ridvik Acharya, I think.
Tamal?
Yeah, he said something like Ridvik
No,
Acharya,
he
something like that.
asked Prabhupada, officiating Acharya,
Yeah.
is that the same as Ritvik Acharya?
No,
And Prabhupada said
exactly.
yes.
Ridvik.
So
Prabhupada
after
didn't say
that,
Ridvik.
Tamal never used Prabhupada's language. He only used Tamal's language.
Okay,
Ritvik.
whatever, Babu.
And I suspect
whatever.
he got that term from Narayan Maharaj, because Narayan Maharaj talked about how he was a Ritvik.
But I would like to say,
For
Prabhu,
Prabhupada's sannyas ceremony.
what I would like to say, see, these things actually were new to Prabhupada's disciples, okay? Means the Americans, the Westerners, they were new to this. Prabhupada used a term officiating acharyas, right? But we don't know. Were you? I don't know if you were there, if you are with Prabhupada, because these senior devotees also at that time they were keeping Prabhupada. They were not allowing other devotees to meet Prabhupada. So
of course, they were poisoning him. They didn't want to see him
yes.
looking copper-colored face.
Yes, like
arsenic.
Prabhupada said, like Prabhupada was saying, officiating acharyas, okay, means in that, I think it was in 28th May conversation. He said, okay, I will appoint some of you to act as officiating acharyas. And when Tamal Krishna Goswami says, is that called Ridvik Acharya? Prabhupada, you know what is Prabhupada next answer? What next reply?
What?
What? Tell me.
Ridvik, yes.
Exactly.
Prabhupada said yes. Officiating Acharya is Ritvik, but Prabhupada never used vocally amongst his disciples. I understand he did in books, but he never used the word Ritvik before that moment.
Right.
He never used
it's
it
true.
before Tamal introduced it.
No, Babu, we can't say we can't guarantee or assure what Prabhupada never used that term. Okay?
In that conversation?
No, not in that conversation.
I'm not talking about all over the universe. I'm talking about what did Prabhupada say in the time where Tamal was proposing that they create these Ritviks. What was Prabhupada saying about Ritvik? He was saying officiating Acharya. And the May 8th letter, he also said
28th.
Officiating Acharya. He never said Ritvik once. Tamal said it. Tamal drew up the agreement with 11 men on it. Tamal was the main signer at the bottom, and Prabhupada was the secondary signer on the side. Right? If Prabhupada was the main signer, he would have signed at the bottom, and on the side is where you put the witnesses.
Okay. Prabhu, I would like to add something regarding this. You know, Prabhupada actually, he said approved. Yes, Prabhupada, there are many letters actually where Prabhupada's secretary has written, okay? Prabhupada's secretary has drafted, okay? And then Prabhupada in the end will sign approved. You know that? Are you aware of that?
I don't understand what you're saying. Oh yeah, I know that a lot of the letters that came from Prabhupada to disciples that were not big earth-shattering letters that had to be dealt with by Prabhupada alone, he had his secretary write them using Prabhupada-esque language, and then Prabhupada would sign it.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's sort of like, oh, I have a toothache, Prabhupada, what should I do about it? And he would say to Tamal or Satsvarup or somebody, write a reply such and such, and they would write the reply, Prabhupada would glance over it, okay, and he would sign it.
Exactly. That's
I know all about these things. I was there for a lot of it and aware of it.
There is a website actually where I saw on Prabhupada's letters, where it is directly Prabhupada's letters, and some letters where Prabhupada approves some letters also, all by his secretaries, members. So So
why would
these
Prabhupada why would Prabhupada give his approval to Tamal Krishna's list of people he introduced the term of being as Ritviks? Tamal introduced the term Ritvik into that conversation.
Prabhu, okay, tell me one thing. Do you mean to say that
Did he or
Prabhupada
didn't
never
he?
used? No, Prabhupada, do you mean to say that Prabhupada never used this term Ridvik?
Where?
Where? In his books, Prabhu. Prabhupada, I think some 20,
We're not
20
talking about
times.
books. What we're talking about is a conversation in Vrindavan where Prabhupada introduced a term called officiating acharya.
But officiating acharya in another
Are you saying that
sense.
Tamal had the justification to contradict Prabhupada and take something from his books and call him person of Ritvik?
No. Actually, Tamal never
Tamal
contradicted
never read
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada's books. What? He didn't have time.
Prabhu, I don't know. I don't know what to say, what to reply about that.
This is too much knowledge.
See, wait, Prabhu. One thing
I'm with you. I'm listening. But come straight. Don't go around the corner.
Yeah, I'm not going around the corner actually.
Yeah,
In
because
that
you're
document,
saying Prabhupada used the word Ritvik because it was in one of his books. But we have the evidence that Tamal took Prabhupada's term out, officiating acharya, and inserted the term Ritvik after Prabhupada said Ritvik is the same as officiating acharya. It was not Prabhupada who changed it.
No.
It was Tamal who changed it. You can see it. It's right there in the conversation.
Listen,
There's no secrets involved. There's no secrecy.
Just like officiating. Prabhu, officiating, that word officiating acharya. Acharya, you mean Diksha Guru. That means Prabhupada. Okay. Acharya, officiating acharya. That's how we have officiating prime minister or officiating whatever post, officiating CEO or whatever. Okay. Like somebody will act on that particular post actually. Means on behalf of that particular person.
Are you saying that Prabhupada didn't know what he was talking about?
Excuse me?
If Prabhupada said officiating acharya, are you saying that he meant something different than Ritvik?
No, actually he is referring to Ridvik only, because later in that 9th July letter he will be explaining, describing in detail the role and responsibilities, the functions of these officiating acharya. If you're allergic to the term Ridvik, so let's call it officiating acharya.
I'm not allergic to the word Ritvik. I'm allergic to its source, which is Tamal Krishna, not Prabhupada.
No, even that, if you go and see 7th July conversation or whatever, or some other conversation, you'll see, I think 7th July conversation, you'll see Prabhupada and Tamal Krishna Goswami, Prabhupada is dictating the name of these people. Yes, you can
Is
you
that
can say that.
Or after Prabhupada Tamal said Ritvik instead of officiating acharya? Which happened first?
Of course, first he will say, I will recommend all of you to act as officiating acharya. It is obvious that afterwards. Okay.
But we don't not satisfied, right? We are not satisfied with Prabhupada saying that, right? We don't want him to say that.
No,
why not?
No, you're misinterpreting me. What I'm saying is Prabhupada named or Prabhupada appointed officiating acharyas to act on his behalf to perform initiation, right? And he
came up with 2 or 3 names. Tamal came up with the rest.
No, but Prabhupada could have said no when he was coming, when Tamal was coming with these names. Prabhupada could have said no, or whatever.
No,
even Prabhupada was suggesting
2 or 3 names. And then,
whatever, Prabhupada, okay,
was saying these people are in different regions because they had, remember, they had zonal, the GBC was zonal. So in each zone, Tamal wanted to have an officiating acharya, or rather, he wanted a Ritvik in each of the zones. And Prabhupada ultimately agreed to that.
Let's put it officiating acharya. Prabhupada wanted to name officiating acharyas, okay? And when Tamal was saying in North America who was there, okay, he will give some names. And Prabhupada was asking him, okay, in South America who was there? When he was saying in South America who was there, he was mentioning, Prabhupada was hinting about the most senior person there in this particular region, who are the most senior persons. That means.
But you remember, so is there a little detail? Or do you think Prabhupada was ignorant of the fact that they were poisoning him? The same people that were being appointed as
Prabhupada is a trikalagya. He knows everything in and out what was going on.
Okay, so he knew that the same people that he was appointing him were poisoning him. Is that right?
Whatever.
He knew that.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, does Hansadut?
I don't know about you or me.
Okay,
what about Prabhupada?
Answer me. Okay, kindly answer me this part.
Did Prabhupada know?
Okay, Prabhu. Did Hansadut, you know Hansadut? Hansadut Swami, yeah, I think his name was Hansadut Swami.
Go ahead.
Was he also poisoning Prabhupada? Was he adding poison in Prabhupada's milk? Yes or no?
Who?
Can you answer that? Hansadut.
Who?
Was Hansaduta poisoning Prabhupada?
No.
So how come his name is there then?
Well, Prabhupada didn't pick just people who were poisoning him.
Excuse me?
Prabhupada didn't name people. Hansaduta was named because he was in charge of Germany.
Not only Germany, he was not only in Germany, maybe some other ports also. He was a responsible man, because among Hansadut, some other
I'm very close to Hansaduta, and in fact, my son almost married Hansaduta's daughter.
Yeah, I didn't hear you what you were saying about Hansadut brother. What happened?
Oh, that my son, I was very close to Hansaduta, and my son almost married Hansaduta's daughter. That's how close we were. That's how close we were.
There was some network problem. I couldn't hear you. Your son, what is his relationship with Hansadut?
Can someone explain that?
No, there was network problem. The phone was.
Can you explain? Hello? Is anyone here?
Narayan's son almost married Hansaduta's daughter. So they had they had a close family relationship.
Very, very good. It's now
so
it's very clear.
And I supported him even when he was a guru, not because he was a guru, but because he was my friend. But after he stopped being a guru, we became very bonded on the Ritpik issue.
When was that? Because later, initially, maybe he was, I've heard and read a few things about Hansadut. Maybe he was confused. I don't know if he was confused himself on the role of Ritviks or officiating Acharya. What was his particular role actually? You are better placed to say what was his confusion, because afterwards, because in 1993 he will be writing letters to Kirtananand Maharaj, and he has given confession also on the videos. Okay, we have videos of his confession where he will say his testimony, where he will say, okay, initially we made a blunder, we didn't actually understand what was Prabhupada, what Prabhupada expected from us. This role wasn't very clear in his mind, but I can say. But I can't say about Tamal Krishna Swami mind or other, like what's his other one name, Kirtananand Maharaj or Hridayanand. I don't know others' name, I forgot. But compared to Hansadut Swami, others may have been distorting or hiding or what to say, distorting information. Okay, hiding information, misrepresenting
from
information.
Whom?
But
hiding from who? Who are they hiding it from?
These 11 senior-most persons whose names were
were they hiding the information from Prabhupada?
No, to the public, to the devotees, so that they can continue with their guru home.
The devotees were prohibited from coming to Prabhupada's stand because the Satsvarup told them to stay and do the festival around Christmas time for making a lot of money.
Yeah, but no, this letter, you know what, Prabhu? this letter actually is very important because it shows how initiation should be carried out. Okay?
But
like you were saying,
Prabhu,
Prabhupada,
are you suggesting, let me ask you, what is the difference between what the letter says initiation be carried out and what was being carried out by the temple presidents initiating in behalf of Prabhupada?
These temple
They were doing this
presidents,
since the 1970s, early 70s.
I agree.
What part is different?
No, listen, Prabhu, listen. It's not that all temple presidents, they were whimsical. They were whimsical, or just as soon as they saw someone who is ready for initiation, they will just bypass everyone and then say, okay, you have become initiated. No, it's not like it wasn't like that. They have to these temple.
You don't think they would do that with the so-called Brithviks? Because just take into account, if there were the so-called Brithviks to initiate, they didn't know who they were initiating.
There is somebody who is talking actually. What happened? I can hear some murmur. Yeah, somebody whispering.
You get that the so-called Brithviks of the July 9th letter did not know the people they were going to initiate.
It's not the problem actually. That's not the problem. No,
they would be going by the recommendation of the temple president, right?
Exactly. Means the temple president will not act whimsically. It's not that. No,
what do you mean not act whimsically? How can they prevent him from acting whimsically?
No. Try to understand my point. The temple president, as soon as they see someone is ready for initiation, okay, he has to send that recommendation to the officiating acharyas whom Prabhupada has appointed. Or let's put
or he would send it to Prabhupada directly. But Prabhupada very seldom, hardly ever, Trikalagya, Prabhupada never said no. If the temple president recommended, he would initiate.
Yes.
So this idea of whimsical is out the window. Prabhupada is no more whimsical for the temple president to talk to. Why is it less whimsical for the temple president to recommend initiation to a Ritvik than it was to recommend to Prabhupada?
No, because Prabhupada delegated the responsibility of accepting initiate people to be initiated.
He did it all the time anyhow.
Prabhupada delegated that. No, he didn't. Means from 1970, I even sent some letters. I even shared some letters about how Karandar and all means different, like you were saying, zonal GBCs, how they were chanting on beads, how they were sending beads, all these. And when it was a gradual step, how Prabhupada, I think I even shared one information about history of initiation. Can you put that share that on screen, Ramchandra Prabhu? Maybe I wasn't participating when you were sharing these letters.
You see, whole thing is that let's deal with a little compartment. Rupa Manjari brought up part of it, and the other part of it, which was that the Ritviks could not initiate after Prabhupada left. And that's clearly stated in Prabhupada's instruction. Ritviks would go up to the time that Prabhupada left. And then the other thing is, are you aware of Ashish Prabhu? I'm sure you must be.
Prabhu,
at the
what
time
you just said.
Prabhupada was, 1 second, let me finish. When Prabhupada was about to enter Samadhi, they had accumulated about 2,000 devotees that were suddenly very anxious to get initiated because they suspected Prabhupada was not long for this world. So they had that big slew. They went to Prabhupada. This is documented. They went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, there's about 2,000 people that want to become initiated. And he said, well, then I will initiate them. And they said, no, Srila Prabhupada, we don't want you to initiate them because if you do, might kill you because you're taking on the karma of all of these people, 2,000 people, when you're sick as you are. And they knew he was sick because they were making him sick by poisoning him with arsenic. Okay, so a person being poisoned by arsenic is typically sick. And Prabhupada was sick and the poisoners told him that, which of course, being Trikalagya, he knew all about. So now here's what happened. Prabhupada said, no, I can initiate. They said, no, we don't want you to initiate. Then he said, I will appoint some officiating acharyas to initiate all of the backlog of disciples, and you will initiate them as my disciples. Just like any temple president was doing a fire sacrifice in behalf of Prabhupada, he said, okay, now let's initiate all these people.
I can hardly hear you actually.
You cannot hear me?
I can hardly. What about others? Can they hear Prabhu?
Why can't you hear me? I'm pretty loud,
I don't
aren't
know. Maybe I was receiving some call or whatever. Can others hear him properly?
I can hear him fine. I can
hear him fine too.
Oh,
what's wrong with
what's happening, man?
But anyhow,
See,
you're the guy I want to hear.
I think we need to talk. We need to talk about it.
But let me finish. Let me finish this little point.
Very.
Prabhupada appointed the Ritviks to initiate people.
Some stuff also before you, like you were saying, like.
May I finish, Ashish?
No, it's very low actually. I can't hear you properly. I can't hear you. I don't know if you are able to hear me. Can you hear me?
I hear you clearly.
No, but I can't hear you clearly.
Okay, Rupa Manjari, can you hear Rupa Manjari clearly?
Hello.
Let her speak.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, but it's very what to say, very.
I can hear everybody. I can hear
it's your problem. It's your line or your phone or your something. Sign out and sign back in.
Yeah. So, Babu, what you were saying,
you could
the,
switch
the,
out. You could sign out and sign back in, and maybe you have a better connection.
Okay, I'll try.
So, Ramachandra Babu. Ramachandra?
Yes, I'm here.
So do you see, the purpose of Prabhupada's external purpose of officiating acharyas was to be sure that when he entered samadhi, there would be nobody waiting to be his disciple. They would all be initiated.
Right.
So that's why he set up the July 9th letter, not after his death, but before, so that all those people that wanted initiation would get initiation. But it would be from...
Yes. But that's no different than he did before. The only difference is that these guys would chant on the beads instead of Prabhupada chanting on the beads.
And then they would send the names, quote unquote, to Srila Prabhupada to be included in his disciples book.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So this is a very clear distinction. And I don't know I have to look into the July 9th letter, but I don't see how they could counteract. But your point, Rupa Manjari, is probably the most important one, where you say that the Ritviks were not supposed to exist past Srila Prabhupada's entering samadhi.
Yeah, and the Ritviks want to argue backwards and forwards that the letter is for post samadhi, but I'm sorry, the language is very straightforward. It says the names are to be sent to Srila Prabhupada. Duh. Like, means before samadhi.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, it's great. I'm glad that Vashish is in this conversation because but let me just say one thing, like talking behind Vashish's back. Can we say about Vashish, what I can say about Vashish, is he back again? Is that he is a disciple of the final order, which was written by a guy that's not even initiated. Krishna Kant. He publishes Bhakti Prabhupada magazine. He never took even a Ritvik initiation. And I knew Krishna Kant quite well because I put on a big festival for him in Los Angeles at the Masonic Lodge, a big Masonic Lodge. We had hundreds of people, and I cooked a feast of goranga potatoes for everybody. And they all came to my house. I had a three-bedroom house, 2-story, 3-bedroom house out in Marina del Rey. And 60 people came out there to listen to Krishna Kant speaking. So I'm pretty familiar with the whole thing. And I was a foundational member. And not only that, myself, Shakuntala, my son Narottam, we all wrote articles for the first printed copy of Back to Prabhupada magazine.
Okay.
So it's not as though that we just came along lately.
So yes. So even though the letter that
Is this Ashish?
no. Okay, 1 second. Let me turn on my video. Haribol. Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
bro.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question, bro. Why should we take initiation when there are bogus initiations going on, right? So what's the point of initiations? Let's read Prabhupada's book and chant Hare and be happy. Why to take initiations and take that pain? Because it's like all bogus going on, right? So what is Narayan Prabhu's talk on this? Where we should take initiations and all?
You're crossing two concepts.
Yeah.
Legitimate initiation can be done to make you a member of the Kanista Adhikari Assembly of ISKCON, and it will burn up in the fire sacrifice a Bovitra, Bovitrava. That means whether purified or unpurified, the fire sacrifice brings you to a point where you are given a chance to surrender to Krishna and Prabhupada.
But then I have to boost the egos of the Guru which I've made, right? That is what is going on.
Yeah,
I'll have to hear his lectures and
if these guys were Ritviks or officiating acharyas for Prabhupada, then there would be no problem, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that they're not qualified for anything except to be temple commander, and they become a guru.
So this means
they're not qualified. They're temple managers. They're like Boy Scout leaders. They're not divine.
So this means you're saying, we should take initiations, but we should not go in the bogus lectures or ego boosting. We should just read Prabhupada's book, chant, and take initiations. At least take initiations, right?
Well, initiation not from them. You can take initiation from Prabhupada simply by desiring to become a disciple of Prabhupada.
Okay.
You can. When Vaikuntanath asked Prabhupada back in the 70s, Srila Prabhupada, you're printing now millions of books. What if people take up these books and become completely inspired and they want to get initiated by you? How are they going to become initiated when there's only one of you and maybe 100,000 people want to become initiated? How will you handle that? And Srila Prabhupada said, if they read my books, if they follow the instructions, for everything, 4 regular principles, chanting 16 rounds, everything. If they are doing all of those things, then they are initiated. That is initiation. They are initiated. And then he said the key words, my touch is only the formality. So I would say at this point in the game, there's no point in me getting carried away with Diksha as a major driving force. Why are we consumed with the notion of Diksha? You see what I mean? Our main thing should be how to surrender to Krishna. Because it's not like, we're not like church members, Catholics in the Catholic Church, where we have to be baptized or we'll go to hell.
All right.
Nobody's going to go to hell if they're not initiated, if they follow Prabhupada specifically and read his books and take his instructions seriously.
Shreya Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Shreya.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
We need to hear from you tonight.
Sure. I wanted to discuss regarding the devotional service and the sadhu sangha that we constantly are asked to follow. So when it comes to devotional service and sadhu sangha, there is a tendency that we end up serving people and not the Lord. When we are in a group, when we are trying to be a part of any sort of services, it slowly tends to become that we incline towards the person that we are doing any sort of devotional service towards. For example, now you have somebody that you are a part of a group with, and then it so becomes that we end up serving the person. My question is, can't devotional service be done at home with the people who are also believers of Lord Krishna? Can we not serve just our own families and slowly to whoever we can, whenever we can? Or should it be that we have to be a part of, a spiritual gathering or spiritual society as such?
Very good
It's,
question.
That's a
Right.
wonderful question.
Amazing.
it starts with family, Shreya.
Great question. Hare.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
It always
So-
starts with family.
So let's have everyone give an answer here now. Narayan Prabhu, you go first. Then we have
Okay.
Rupa Manjari
The
Prabhu.
the temples have all the ingredients for spiritual advancement. Deities installed by Prabhupada, kirtan brought from Krishna Loka by Prabhupada, if they bother to chant like Prabhupada, books to read from like Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, if they are not changed, and prasadam, 4 regulated principles. All of these things are the ingredients. So if you join into a temple that is actually following Prabhupada, well, you're in heaven. Even the ISKCON temples today, if you don't talk to anybody, you certainly can sit there and listen to them give strange lectures, and you can chant japa in the temple, you can worship the deity, take prasadam at the temple. All those things are fine. But if you get too much conversations going, then you're going to get dragged down into the horizontal platform of bodily consciousness. Because Kanistadikari is bodily consciousness, but it's a way to purify your body. And thereby, when you purify your body, you purify your mind and your consciousness. When that consciousness becomes purified, then you're going to want to seek direct association with Krishna, and that is accomplished by Madhyamadikari, coming up to the platform of pure unalloyed love of God, meaning Krishna Loka. So that's the process. So it's very important for some people, but like in Shreya's case, because you're like Mirabai, if you can stay in your own Bachan Kutir, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, because you don't have to get tangled up in the politics of what you're learning. You can read Prabhupada's books. You don't have to listen to somebody else's opinion of what their guru said. So I agree with Shreya Prabhu. You can stay in your house, and if you want to go to the temple for Janmashtami or Prabhupada disappearance day or appearance day, that's wonderful. But it's not that you have to get tangled up. And I know what you're saying. I think you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, how not to become tangled up in strange thinking when all I want is pure Krishna Katha. Is that right?
Krishna
Yes,
starts
because
at home.
yes, what
Did I
happens
capture?
is, you're correct, Prabhu. We tend to forget that we are doing service to the Lord. Instead, this particular person asked me to fulfill that particular task. Let me do it in such capacity that he'll be receiving unexpected results from me. We tend to divert the whole concept of devotional service from the Lord to the person because he is in position, he is in power. We just think that everything is because we're able to give to that particular person. So I wanted to know, is it necessary that we get tangled up like this? Because
Well,
whether or not, we
okay.
always will end up.
What you're describing is the good part and the bad part. The good part is that whoever it is that's sitting there in the temple, fake guru, say, or Kanista, the initiator, whoever there is presiding in an atmosphere, you'll see the deity. You'll hear from the Bhagavatam. You'll chant japa. You'll take prasadam. That's the good part. The bad part is exactly what you described. you have to listen to somebody giving you half-baked understandings that you already have seen beyond. So I would say
insufficient
visit the
guidance.
temple, but don't join the temple.
We've talked about it many times, insufficient guidance. So people get frustrated by insufficient guidance.
Exactly. So,
So-
Prabhu,
Shaya is capable of the pure truth.
Yes.
but
She's
Narayan
able-
Prabhu, your
See,
point is
she
very
is
correct that
allergic to everything that isn't the pure truth. So, you
I'm
know,
very
that
sorry.
I'm taking into account her. I'm not taking into account anybody else. Just I'm talking about Shreya. She asked the question. Yes. She's interested in hearing the supreme absolute truth purely spoken from the transcendental platform. And of course, you can have that by listening to Prabhupada, and hopefully you can make some movement in that direction in the League of 10K Zoom call. We're hoping. We're not
So-
perfect.
Okay.
Narayan-
Mohit Prabhu wanted to say something. Go ahead, Mohit
yeah,
Prabhu.
Narayan Prabhu, so Prabhu, you are frankly saying this: take initiation in front of the sacred fire, then just go for prasadam, deity worship, see the deities, and come back to your home and do your chanting and do Prabhupada's reading. Read unedited book.
Yeah,
This
but
is what I
why
want to
take
say, frankly.
initiation? You don't have to
Yeah.
take initiation in front of the sacred fire. It depends who's offering the initiation. If they're initiating it to make you a disciple of Prabhupada, yes, take initiation. If they're trying to make you their disciple, say thank you, but no thank you.
Mhm.
I don't need to be deluded
Hare Krishna.
into thinking I'm the disciple of a person. But in
I
Shreya's
totally
case,
agree with you. I totally agree with you, Prabhu, because the initiation concept, for whatever that is, we totally are unaware of what really goes around. So when we do end up in the people that we are in contact with through the temple, we think that the initiation is what they do. But I really was thankful the last time we had similar discussion when you told the initiation is not about the person. It is about making you even more surrender to Prabhupada, who is the only person who will be able to deliver us. So
yes.
thank you so much for guiding us on the right path, Prabhu.
And thank you for guiding us, because what you just said is a guide for me and for everyone else on this site.
Prabhu,
Hare
but
Hare.
here in ISKCON,
Hare Hare.
Bangalore, all the Akshapatra temples, first you need to go for ashray programs, right? So for 4 mala ashray, then 8 malas, then 16 malas. What is your point of view on this? Because then we have to do seva according to the ashray which you have taken. So what are your takes on this? Is this legitimate? Is this the right way to go? And then
Are you asking Shreya?
no, Prabhu, I'm asking you.
I'm not the
Ashray.
best person to answer, Prabhu. You can
No,
go ahead.
Ashray.
I'm
This is
asking
what you say
Narayan
is
Prabhu.
Ashray program.
I can
Ashray.
only
In
answer,
shelter program.
I will do
Ashray
what
program.
everybody wants for the simple reason I am Das. I'm a servant. So I am your servant. So whatever you want, I will do. You want me to shine your shoes? I'll shine your shoes. So you're saying, what? So can you repeat? I thought you were asking Shreya. So what is your question?
Vashish Prabhu got my point. He can just repeat it again, please. Vashish Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
See, Hare Krishna.
Is
See, the
Vashish
thing is,
back?
yeah. Actually, I joined in when I heard Mataji Shreya saying something, and you were explaining something to her, but I didn't hear her question, her basic query. The first query I didn't hear actually. I just heard you saying few things like you just have to hear from Prabhupada's books like this. I
Okay,
didn't
I'll
hear
repeat
her
it again.
question,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah,
So
that's
Prabhu,
what
my
Prabhupada
question
said.
is, what we do here in Akshapatra in ISKCON Bangalore is you need to go through an ashray program. First, you need to take ashray of 1 mala, then 4 malas, and then 8 malas, and then 16 malas. Then
Yeah,
you're
that's good.
purified. So that process, that process, according to you, is it correct, right? Because in that ashray, we need to give sevas and we need to.
Basically, what they do in Bangalore, in Shayapatra, is excellent.
Okay.
I have no problem. That if they are not chanting Prabhupada's melodies, I would like to teach them to do it. When I was in Bangalore, I led kirtans in the temple. Madhu Pandit had me leading kirtans all over the place in the temple in 2016. And there were groups that gathered, social groups, and I led the kirtan and had everyone join in taking turns leading the kirtan with Prabhupada melodies only. And they were in ecstasy. They didn't want to stop. So that I would find needs to be increased, is the presence of Prabhupada as the sound vibration, not just the status of Guru. But I agree with them. I mean, Madhu Pandit is a dear friend of mine. I actually brought him out from India in 2000, 2000 and what? 2097. I brought him out from Bangalore 2097 for that festival we had, a Ritvik festival, where Krishna Kant was there.
Hari bol, Hari. So that Ashray program is superb, according to you.
As far as I'm concerned, I am worshipping the lotus feet of Madhu Pandit. I have no problem with Madhu Pandit.
Hare Krishna, Hari bol. Thank you very much.
Is there rooms to expand? Yeah. He has the misfortune of having been initiated by Jayapataka Swami. So that is not a very good starting place. And he went off independently. And then he started to associate with people like Yasodananda and Paranjan, who are not part of the solution. They're more of the problem than they are part of the solution. I would like to add,
Prabhu?
Please go ahead. Ashish. Yeah, give us back to where we were.
What Mohit Prabhu was saying, actually, there is Ashray program. And you have said that, okay, you have no problem with ISKCON Bangalore group of temples, the way they are doing it. Means like what Mohit Prabhu was saying, it's just that in our ISKCON temples, Bangalore temples, group of temples, it's like it's a systematic way of cultivating devotees, of training devotees. Like initially there'll be like initially devotees will be chanting two rounds, 4 rounds, and initially it steps up to 8 rounds, and then 12 rounds, and then 16 rounds. 3-4 months or 6 months, they'll be doing little by little, and we'll be reading books in association of devotees. A particular devotee will train them. Okay, like this. It's like cell.
And that's what it was like in 1967. That's exactly how the temples were at that time.
Means the senior devotees will take care of the new people who join the movement. It's a systematic approach. It's a systematic approach.
Because we have a guru that's Prabhupada, not a guru that's some guy like us, except with 2 more stars on his uniform.
No, actually, we are all facilitators. We are all facilitators between the Diksha Guru, that is Prabhupada, and that new people and these potential devotees. We are just facilitators. We just have to make them understand Prabhupada, make them know, understand, and carry out Prabhupada's instruction.
Yeah, they need to have access to Srila Prabhupada.
Very good.
It's not just an idea or philosophy or ritual. That's part of it. But people have to feel Prabhupada's presence when they are chanting
just
japa.
Like Prabhu, I think since it was in 2016 that you went to temple, I bet besides some other temples like Radhanath Maharaj temples or some in Mumbai temples where preaching is quite strong. Okay, besides these temples, there are hardly any other temples where you will find youngsters joining full-time devotees like in ISKCON Bangalore, and that too in our ISKCON Bangalore group of temples. The number of devotees that is new people, new brahmacharis are joining. Okay, it's incomparable.
In 2006, I went to Chicago. It used to have 150 devotees. I gave a class. There were 4 devotees in the class. They were Indians that didn't speak English, and I didn't speak whatever they spoke. Hindi or whatever.
So you have been to Bangalore and
2006. I mean, that's a great shame that whole temple came down to nothing.
Exactly. That's what I was trying. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But the way
you're absolutely right, Prabhu. Ashish, you're 100%.
The way because you'll find today if you find somebody who has done his IIT and all IIM, IISc, they will be just focused on their material way of life, and they'll be practicing spiritual life just as a part-time or some other, like like a hobby, okay, like a, I won't say hobby or pastime, or like an over part-time, as if means it will be, means main focus will be what to say, will be their job and all these things. Spiritual life will be secondary. But if you go to our temples, you will find many youngsters who are
You mean in
sacrificing their
Bangalore?
lives. Yeah, Bangalore group of temples.
Oh yes,
Bangalore group
no,
of temples.
100,000% yes.
Yeah. So what
I went there.
so,
I was
maybe
the honored
I
guest
missed,
of Madhu
maybe
Pandit when I came there
okay.
in 2016.
This is okay. This is all right. But maybe I missed Mataji Shreya's question. What was his question actually? What was her question actually? Was she trying to say that we need not approach a temple for our spiritual life? What was her concern actually?
Shreya?
Yeah, what was her concern?
Shreya asked if it's all right to simply practice Krishna consciousness at home with family, or is it required that she go and participate in the temple and be part of the temple activities?
And she argued that in the temple, they tend to dilute her focus. So,
right. My point is, yes, Prabhuji. My point is, it's not just limited to being able to practice it at home or not. My point is, if we do go into any association with any group, it's not just ISKCON as such. There are so many other groups where they talk about spirituality and advancement in spiritual life. But when we try to become a part of it, try to get involved with all that they're doing so that we start feeling the association, the devotional association, there is a tendency, it's a human tendency, I believe, that we start trying to impress the teacher, maybe the temple president or whoever it is. We tend to start becoming inclined towards uh, working for that person and forget that we are here for devotional service to the Lord. So it's like the shift of focus happens, and I feel I don't like that distraction. I like to be in groups like ours where we are able to bring back that focus on worshiping Lord Krishna rather than having to end up doing all sorts of service, but there is no satisfaction. So that's what I was trying to find out.
Vashish, how do you like that?
No, actually, see, yes, actually, that's a genuine concern. Actually, means
I took initiative in 1968. I can find no fault with what she said.
Yeah, but the thing is, what she's trying to say, maybe the temple which she has been associating, or she has associated, like she was saying that, like you tend to impress that the temple president or the person who is in charge. You tend to means you get out of focus. Means out of focus from the guru, from Srila Prabhupada, or from Lord Krishna. You get to satisfy or impress that particular person. But it all depends, Prabhu. It all depends.
I'll tell you why I'm saying this, Prabhu. Sorry to interrupt. The thing is, when you're actually serving Lord Krishna through all sorts of examples, we do come across stories where Lord Krishna has been provided with service, and he only is asking you to provide him your unconditional love. He just wants to see how much you're interested in serving him. And there, the whole story is only me and the Lord, nobody else in between. So I'm only trying to say, if you're going to be a teacher, if you're going to be a facilitator, if you're going to be whoever in between the two of us, it should be to show me the path. How quickly can I reach Lord Krishna? And that has been clearly laid out by Srila Prabhupada, which is why I strongly believe anything that is written by Srila Prabhupada. That's my only thing. Because every other person we interact with, they cannot even represent Srila Prabhupada's words in any better way than himself. Every time I read his books, there's always an enlightenment I get, a different direction I get, a different answer I get to whatever I'm doing. And especially, I must thank you. Those 4 quotes for the day that you send, that those are like perfect. Some question running in my head, and there is an answer from there. So today's topic arose from your quotes about devotional service, the third quote that you had shared. So I just wanted to clarify that with Narayana Prabhu and the team here. So thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Prabhu, Shraya Prabhu, thank you very much.
So what,
I offer you my deepest respects. I would like to mention that what Shraya is talking about is the mentality of a person who has developed an interest in the Madhyamadikari platform. How to come up out of the relativistic, because everyone in any temple anywhere, they're all going to make friends. They're all going to get along together. They're all going to chat. They're all going to like things and dislike things. They're all going to be attracted. She was saying, you talk to somebody, you have to be like them. You have to be attracted to the leader. That's the Madhyamata, that's the Kanistadikari platform. It's normal. But as you evolve up, you become more like, I just want to associate with Krishna. Who is going to suggest to me how I can, who is going to open the door so I can go further, not who's going to stand in front of the door saying, follow me instead. I like that very much. And that's the goal and objective of this League for 10K is going ahead.
Okay. I'd like to add something.
Without any obstacles.
Don't you think, bro, after doing chanting and after doing all your sevas and all, Krishna automatically will give you a chance to get through some devotees and then you'll get to the higher level? This is what my thinking is. Because getting into various groups is too much. So you need to understand which group is important for you and Krishna will automatically provide.
I want to tell you about my experience in that. I like to make a point here about my experience. So when I started with ISKCON, that was back in somewhere around 2005, I think 2005 or 8. That's when I bought Srila Prabhupada's books, but I never read one page until just about the beginning of this year. So after I kind of started reading and I got associated with another temple, ISKCON, and attending their classes, I totally was impressed because none of my life questions went unanswered. And that's when searching on YouTube, I ended up with this particular group where we're talking Istagosthi, and I was able to clarify my deep down doubts to the way I wanted to ask about it. Usually in a group, you'll never get a chance. You'll never be able to express out so clearly and easily. But with Istagosthi, I'm able to ask directly my problems, and everybody's opinions will some way give you direction to how to proceed further. And that is why I strongly believe this group is the best.
Haribo. That is how Krishna has supported us. Krishna has brought us here. And Prabhupada's kripa.
So that's incredible.
So I would like to add something.
What you're saying gives us a sense that we have a right to take. We take one breath, but what entitles us to another breath? You just entitled us to take another breath because you said that what we're doing is helpful. Then we say, yes, Prabhu, we are here to serve you in accessing Krishna. And you're here to serve us. You're here to help us access Krishna.
Yes, it's Vashish's turn now. Vashish, please speak. Yes.
And that's what Prabhupada is, the central figure. We should not, instead of thinking of a guru and Prabhupada's a picture on the wall or a movie, Prabhupada is the person who is enlightening us right now. We are inside of Prabhupada right now, speaking inside of Prabhupada right now, being guided by Prabhupada right now. So that we need to do increasingly. And as Shreyas points out, Istagosthi is a climate, because in Istagosthi, everybody speaks from as spirit soul. You don't have to have any Shastra. Just speak from, you've already read Shastra. You speak from your realization, not from a quote. And in that way, you can make rapid spiritual advancement,
Okay.
which is what the Istagosthi is for.
Vashish Prabhu, your turn. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question to Mataji Shreya actually. Some questions which will help all of us to analyze few things. Mataji Shreya, just like you were saying.
Your voice is very low. Your voice is very low. What's going on?
Oh, okay. What I was saying, I have some question to Mataji Shreya. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Vashish, can you talk more slowly and loudly?
Okay, I'll try. Now, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mataji Shreya is here?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu, go on, go on.
Okay. Like you were saying, some maybe 15 years back, you bought some of Srila Prabhupada's books, and it was just that at the beginning of this year that you started reading it, and you also went to a particular temple, you attended their class, and you were very impressed by the way the devotees were conducting their class. You had some questions and you interacted with them. Means many of your questions your doubts got cleared, and you've been practicing. Now, have you been regularly attending? Have you been regularly going to that temple, or that temple is far from your place? How is it? What was your? Is it the reason you say that? Okay, during your means your visit to a temple, when you were going to do service there, you saw a few things what was going on. Like you were saying, there are many people, you find many people trying to impress the people in charge, like Sankirtan leader or temple president, to get some benefits like this. Means there were few good things and there were few things that put you off. Like you said, okay, it's better to read Prabhupada's book at home, and it's best actually to read Prabhupada's book at home and try to practice the sadhana, the things actually. Is it this is going in your mind actually?
I would rather say yes and no, because after I got all my questions answered, there are questions that are of a personal context which I need answers to. And being in the group, you're just going in circles. It's a vicious circle. So although you feel that you're getting the kick, you want a higher kick, and that higher kick is only possible if you learn a lot more than what you've learned already. And spiritual advancement, when it happens, I feel you just cannot stop, and you want more of it, and you want more of it, and you want it faster. And when I speak with all of you here, I feel that I get more clearer direction and better answers. So the only temple that I'm attending of late is the temple inside my house, and the only god that I'm worshipping is Lord Krishna in my temple room, and the only association that I am with is all of you.
Okay. You know what, Malaji? I can understand what you're trying to say, and there's Ramchandra Prabhu also, who has been means his Krishna consciousness started with a temple. Okay, he has been associating with temple. He has been going to temples. Even Prabhu Narayan also, he has been in direct contact with Prabhupada. He knows the movement in the beginning. So, like you were saying, that initially you need to know Krishna. Krishna should be the main focus, and by reading Bhagavad Gita, you know there is Prabhupada. Means if somebody is saying he wants to surrender to Krishna, he wants to worship Krishna, that means he has to accept the authority of Prabhupada. But we cannot escape from that. We cannot go away with that. Okay. Now, when we read Prabhupada, when we will hear Prabhupada, we will read Prabhupada, we will go deeper in Prabhupada's books. If you now will scrutinize his books, you will see where Prabhupada's many places, he will say you should be in company of devotees. You should read in, especially Bhagavad Gita. Means he will say you should be trained. Okay, this Krishna, he will give a lot of emphasis to the Krishna consciousness movement, to the ISKCON, to the Hare Krishna movement he founded. Okay, he requests all his devotees to work combinedly. But today, what Prabhu Narayan, Ramchandra Prabhu are trying to say, but there's lots of problem in our ISKCON. Okay, the temple which you have been going also initially may be good, but later there will be many problems actually. you'll find many problems. Superficially, it will be nice, but afterwards, it won't be it won't be you won't feel encouraged to associate with them much. That's the reality actually. Can you hear me?
Yes, we heard that. So whoever wants to speak, Mohit Prabhu, you
There
wanted
was
to speak. Go
there
ahead.
there was pinpoint drop silence. I don't know what happened. I thought I was talking.
No,
Maybe
no.
Prabhu, I can totally understand your concern. For my story, what happened is my mother took the books in 1996 when I was born, of Prabhupada books. She read it, and then that seed was gone, and that seed came in when I was 21 years old. I was doing my graduation, and then I read books. So this is all the seed which is born through your past karma, some karma you must have done, and then you need to carry on that.
of course, that's mercy of Prabhupada only, our devotees.
Yeah. Through the books of Prabhupada, right? And when it comes to groups, I can totally understand the groups. Sometimes you have to please. You can just leave those groups and read it on your own. If you think that group is great for you, then you can move forward. This is the only option which we have got in this material world. So what we can do, we can just understand from our brains and just move on, right?
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, yeah, I agree. But thing is, like when you're saying like let's put it directly, Prabhupada's institution, okay, Prabhupada's groups, like Prabhupada's temple groups, means people are getting discouraged only because devotees are not up to the mark. They are not carrying out Prabhupada's instructions. That's why people are getting discouraged. They want to keep a respectable distance to the society. Do you get that point?
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Now, Ryan Prabhu, I'm going to unmute you because there was a lot of cross-talking going on between the devotees. No one was able to hear. So I'm trying to manage this so people can speak.
Good.
Then,
it's better.
And then their point is taken across and people can hear it. If three people are talking, we cannot understand anything. So now, Ryan Prabhu, please unmute yourself. Then speak. Okay. Okay, you got to unmute yourself. Ask to unmute. I'm asking you to. There you go.
All right, I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Okay. So, isn't it a fact that there is no such thing as a group in Krishna consciousness? A group is a material herd, like a bunch of cows or a bunch of deer or a bunch of buffaloes. There's no such thing as a group of devotees. There is only individuals who choose to practice Krishna consciousness, and when they relate to each other as individuals, then they are speaking jiva to jiva, not body to body, but to speak of group to group. The jiva must understand that he is eternal part and parcel of Krishna, and so are you. I am, and so are you. There's no group. There's no thing as a group. When you see group, you have already entered into an illusion. So our group, which is the League for 10K, this so-called group is a assembly because it's an Istagosthi. In Istagosthi, there is no group, just individuals expressing their realization to others, devotees, who are hearing and responding from their realization. Individuals, not group. The minute there's a group, it is Maya. It is sunk down to the material plane. There is no such, in Krishna consciousness, there is no such thing as a group. Only individuals. And the individuals make a society, but not a group. A society is a bunch of people together that are individuals. Society. They are associating with each other. Not that they become merged into, oh, I belong to that group. Can't be done. That is not our spiritual platform. That's not our process. In Istagosthi, you realize something, you can be right, you can be wrong. But whatever you've studied up to this point, it's not the debate. We're not here to go over Shastras. We're here to say, what is your realization? Shreya, I would like to honor by saying she is speaking from realization. And because of that, she's seeking a more rarefied source of information that a group or people who think they're a group will provide. Anytime there's a group, you're going to be deluded because they'll all think like a bunch of sheep in a herd of sheep. We're not like that. We're trying to be individuals. We must be individuals. And when we're individuals, then we can learn from one another. I can learn from you, Vashish. I can learn from Shraya. I can learn from Ramachandra. I can learn from Mahaprabhu. I can learn from anyone. Oh, I can learn from Mohit also. I can learn from sometimes. Oh no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, bro.
Hare Krishna
Okay,
Prabhu.
so
I think why Srila Prabhupada asked us all to be in devotional connections or to be in sadhu sangha is because of the kind of situation he was put through or he was facing with all kinds of people, completely deluded of this particular path. So I'm thinking he probably wanted everybody to constantly be in that same. What do we say, the high that they used to get being in Krishna conscious and chanting, and because of the hippies who were not ready to it is very likely that they would have fallen off if they were not in that same group. So probably that is why he insisted all of them to be in devotional service and sadhu sangha. That's how I am seeing it. But
I agree
otherwise,
with you. May I clarify that so that I can support your point?
yes, please.
Okay. ISKCON is a group, and it's supposed to be a group. Everything you're saying about Prabhupada and ISKCON and everything is true. When you join ISKCON, you're joining a group. But when you start to become serious, you have to begin, and in Istagosthi, even in that group, you start to see yourself as an individual jiva, and that's what we're doing here. We're acting as individuals, but I like the group. Look how many thousands and thousands of devotees are in the group all over the world, but they're stuck. We're showing the path how to get unstuck, how to come up to the Madhyamadikari platform, how to come to the top of the Kanista platform, not just lurking around in the bottom 25% level of realization that ISKCON is currently cultivating. Can you see that distinction? The group is valuable, as Vashish is saying. I honor that. The group is valuable to keep people in line. And Shreya also was saying like that. The group serves a purpose to keep people in line. Prabhupada created ISKCON to create a group. But once that group is established, what do you do to become Krishna conscious? That cannot be done by a group. It can only be done by each individual in Istagosthi. And that's what we're doing here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Prabhu.
Okay. Most people are still muted.
They can raise their hands if they want to speak. So we're allowing only one person to speak at a time, so no one jumps in. Like it's okay.
So
anyone
people
wants
talking over each other if they're careful.
Yeah, we have to be very careful when we speak. So
Elizabeth has blocked.
I just want to hear Rupa Manjari Mataji also say her comments on this particular topic.
Okay.
What does she think?
Okay, she's gonna unmute herself and speak.
What topic was that?
Sure, Prabhu. Can you elaborate on what topic?
I'm just asking. Do you agree with what we are discussing, Mataji?
Yes.
Do you think that devotional service is something that we all have to progress from where we are every single day in becoming even more deeper in terms of our connection and association with Lord Krishna? Or do you think we should be a part of a group? I just feel it's going in a vicious circle. So just wanted
I
your
think
thoughts.
I think it really depends on your relationships. If the people that you're associating with are aiding your Krishna consciousness or taking away from it, and that's only something you can determine for yourself. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
like you said, I really appreciate this group because it's an open forum where we can talk about spiritual topics, and you can just be participating just from your living room, on your phone. It's really easy and convenient, and that's why technology is in this case a blessing. And otherwise it's up to you what you feel is benefiting you.
I totally agree, Mataji. You know why I said this group is really good? Is because when I was associating with a temple, they told me that we have to, say the Mangalarati, we have to say the food offering prayers. It's very difficult for an individual to learn so many shlokas or Sanskrit verses, but it was easy for me to talk to Lord Krishna. I'm like, Krishna, I have offered you this particular food today, please accept, and please give me your prasadam. So it was very easy if I had to speak to Lord Krishna this than having to chant a few mantras which we might end up saying wrong because we don't know how to pronounce it, or we don't know which mantra to say when. It was very difficult for me to start doing pujas. But you wouldn't believe if I said I have been doing puja and I feel a lot of satisfaction. It's like I'm just associating myself totally to Lord Krishna for those few minutes. It's like cleaning the temple room, making the arrangements with flowers, offering obeisances, doing arati, it could be burning incense sticks, anything at all. But I felt so happy when Narayan Prabhu told me the other day that it's how you want to do it. It's nothing else that matters. And I chant from start to the end, everything. My only mantra is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. That's all. I don't think so there's anything else I can actually chant. So that's what I've been doing. I don't know if I'm doing correct or wrong. And then when I had this doubt, with another question I had raised during the night sessions with Nityananda Prabhu, he said it's how you do it, and it's all going to purify you, and you're going to get better at it. So I'm a lot at satisfaction now.
Joy. That's
Okay.
wonderful.
It's
This is I'm so inspired,
okay. Vashish Prabhu wants to say something. Vashish Prabhu, go ahead.
Vashish, Haribol.
Yes, just like Mataji was saying, she was attending the temple, she was going to temple, and when the temple they kind of means I should say pressurized, forced her, means they were they were in a hurry to tell her to do Mangalarati, to attend Mangalarati, or to say some particular prayers. Actually, you know what? Preaching should be done in a very tactful way. In a very tactful way. You can't pressurize people. Just like a new people tomorrow will join the group, okay? Our group, the League of for 10,000 K or 10K. Okay, suppose he joins, he's a new people. He's a new people, doesn't know many things about Krishna consciousness. He just got attracted and he wants to talk with us, interact with us. And then you'll tell him or her that you have to chant 16 rounds, you have to wake up for Mangalati, you need to offer your food and all this. But will really scare him or her out. So we should, that's what Mohit Prabhu was saying, okay? Like ashray is different levels of surrender. Like it's a gradual step. Like initially you do this, and then when he or she is doing very nicely, like you feel the kick that you need to progress more, and then you go. But suppose someone you are approaching somebody and he tells you have to do this, and all instructions.
Prashant Prabhu, I want to interrupt over here I think we have to bring a bridge between the material thinking of this process and the spiritual awakening that needs to happen. Even if a person, just because he's been told to do 4 rounds of japa, I don't think so he's going to be awakened unless he is going to have that willingness to surrender, because I totally believe in the particular person's willingness to want to become Krishna consciousness than just constantly chanting. But of course, they say that because of chanting, you will be purifying yourself, and so you will definitely move ahead in your spiritual path. But I strongly believe it's completely onto that one individual. I feel like that. I don't know.
Okay, what others have to say about it? You said something very, 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 what to say?
I'm saying spiritual path and spiritual awakening does not
Yeah,
happen at the
understood.
same time in the
So
same way.
when you're, I wanted to
Oh,
interject into this. Sorry. If you're chanting, if you're doing quality chanting, no one can stop you on this earth to go into deep reliefs, which Prabhupada has. Quality chanting.
I tell
Whenever
you
you,
what. I tell you what
yeah,
about that also. When we say quality chanting, nobody
yeah,
has ever realized what is quality chanting. And to me,
quality.
quality chanting is even
exactly.
thinking about Lord Krishna and completely staying focused. That is
On
quality chanting. And when I
on
have
every word.
each,
Sorry,
Can,
sorry, sorry.
can,
it's
can,
like
can,
it's like
can I try
in
to make a
devotion.
clarification here?
Yes,
May I-
Prabhu. It's
Yeah,
like, when
Okay,
we are in the sadhu sangha
the
and the
clarification.
sorry, 1 minute, Prabhu. I just want to finish this. The
Okay,
Ashraya levels and all of that we are talking about, they say you have to do 4 rounds initially. And I mean, you begin with 1 round of chanting, and then you go to 4 rounds, and then you go to 8 rounds, and so on and so forth, until you become up to 16 rounds. I think that is called Bhakti Shastri or whatever that is. I I strongly believe it's not in everybody's capacity to reach 16 rounds of quality chanting. So and then they come up and say you can break it. You can break it as 4 rounds at 4 different parts of the day. Morning 4 rounds, afternoon 4 rounds, like tablets that we take. They said you can do that. But I'm saying the quality chanting is all about how effective you are doing, even if it is just 1 round. And it's not possible that you can have so many people telling you that um, I'm able to do 16 rounds a day. I don't think so that is as easy as it is being said. And that is why I believe being in association of false followers is not going to help much. So
okay.
rather that one particular person who can tell you you're doing correct and here's where you're going wrong, or we need baby steps in order to
Shaya Prabhu, can I clarify one moment? Because I think it will help if I can. May I? Your
of course,
permission.
Prabhu, you can. Of course, of course.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Please
Yes, she
go ahead.
muted
So
herself.
Please
the
go ahead,
thing is,
Prabhu.
ISKCON starts out, people come off the streets, hippies or whatever, they shave their head. I used to joke because some hippie comes in with long hair. When he shaves his head, he's got those huge seeker going down the middle of his back. They say, "Oh, you must have been a devotee for for decades." But actually, he's a hippie and he shaved his head and left a big seeker. So they think he was there for 20 years. But aside from that, when you move into the temple at the lowest level, you follow regular principles. You rise early in the morning, you chant japa, you worship the deity, you take prasadam, you listen to the class. All of those things that you do are like look at it this way. Supposing you're 6, 7, 8 years old, you're in grammar school. At first, you don't know how to make lettering, but you make squiggles on the page. And then after that, they teach you more and more how to write the lettering. All that group activity teaches you, and this was Shaya was discussing also, teaches you the ABCs of Krishna consciousness. Once you have the ABCs under your belt, you can do that in the class, like ISKCON temple, or you can do it on your own by seeing what the ISKCON temple is doing. You don't have to be there to do it, but you have to do it. You have to become first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, like that, in terms of development. But at some point, you become aware that this is not a group project. This is each individual becoming self-realized spirit soul. And when that time comes, that's when you begin to become aware of the Madhyamadikari possibility, and you can start moving in the direction of actual. You don't need someone to tell you you're doing something wrong. If you've learned how to chant, you've learned how to cook prasadam, you've learned how to offer it, you've learned all the prayers. That's what you learned in the temple. But that's not the end of it. The end of it means you become, as Shraddha was saying, you become an individual in the temple. And at that point, sometimes being in the temple is a burden that you don't want to take because the initiator may not be any more advanced than you are. He might be even less advanced than you are. So why take initiation in the temple from somebody that isn't as smart as he needs to be giving initiation without Prabhupada involved in being the recipient or accepting the disciple as Prabhupada is doing, or is some guru is doing? Well, he can't do it. He's not qualified. So does that? I tried to clarify, but does that clarify at all? Just in sum it up, what Shreya was talking about in the temple, groupthink, yeah, it's groupthink works like when you're in grammar school, you sit in the class and you learn in the 30 people or 40 people in the class, you learn together. But at some point, you start becoming an independent philosopher. And when you become an independent philosopher, you use what you learned as a group thinker from meeting the disciplines and the practices and how many rounds and how to cook prasadam and how to read the books and how to listen to Prabhupada chanting japa in the morning. All of that you can do. But in the end, you're on your own because each jiva is an individual. And what in ISKCON is doing is they're suppressing the individuality of the jivas. They're stopping them from being individuals. And that is turning around like a snake biting itself. You know, you have a poisonous snake and he bites himself. Well, the snake dies of the snake poison that he's bitten with himself with. That's not good in a group. Certainly not good in a spiritual group like ISKCON. And it's hard to make advancement in today's ISKCON because they want to keep you down. And they don't want you to make advancement. So Shreya, in my humble opinion, I honor you, Shreya, because you're stating, but I was trying to clarify that it's okay to learn how to do the things in the temple just for that purpose. But you don't have to stay with the temple if you feel they're trying to stop you from making spiritual advancement rather than encouraging you to become individually Krishna conscious. Okay, does that help at all?
Yes, that's a very good point that Manjari Prabhu mentioned, that the association matters. And if they're, like she said, if they're pulling you down or, you don't have any breathing room. So obviously either the management or the leaders, they're stuck in their so-called, box and they're functioning. And then if it's not helping you, then it's better you get out. Otherwise, that has been my experience here in Sacramento. I've been, associating with the devotees, but I was always trying to push for, the next level. And I eventually came to the position where, there's no next level here. If you want to go to the next level, you have to go out first, and then you'll be able to function properly. So that has been my experience, like Share Prabhu.
Here we are. This is the next level.
Yes.
I also want to tell you one more thing, Ramchandra Prabhu.
Yes.
In temples, what also goes around is they don't practice what they preach. That's the main problem. So if they're talking about good qualities, the sattvic qualities of being humble, being calm, that's not the real face of the person preaching. Behind it is one monster, and that monster is the one trying to guide, and we are just becoming a blind believer of that monster. So I think every student in a spiritual path needs to verify, to validate if that particular preacher, I would call them preachers because they're still not gurus. A guru is somebody who removes the darkness of your path. so that you have light to go on and achieve what you have to. But I don't think so. They still qualify to call themselves as gurus, so they call themselves as bhaktas and preachers. They use all fancy names that are attractive, but I strongly think, if somebody has to reach that level, that is a totally independent individual thing. Now let's say in a class of 200, 300 students, if one particular person wants to advance and is not able to keep pace, go in the same pace as the others, it's not going to be possible for the teacher also to help you take that extra step, or take that extra time out to sit down and tell you do this, do that, and all that. So I think Istagosthi is the only way. And here at least we get to directly ask questions of maybe class 10 when we are still in class 7, and that freedom we do not enjoy over there. So I'm really thankful to you for running this group, and for Naranarayan Prabhu for not giving up on us. Rupa Bajari Mataji also. I mean, Mark Prabhu, all of you are here supportive, not taking it to heart when we end up speaking rude or come up with our own thoughts and opinions. That's a phase, it's a passing phase. So thank you for.
Hare Krishna.
So for the first time tonight, I'm taking a different view about temples. The advantage of the temple is you can go there, learn how to chant your japa, you can learn how to, all the prayers, you can learn everything that Prabhupada taught about temple life. But once you've learned that, and if they're not initiating people as disciples of Prabhupada, then once you've learned all the stuff, all the rules and the regulations and the prayers and how to do everything, you can learn all of that from Prabhupada's books too, and tapes. But it's easier. In a temple, you go in and you learn, you ask questions, and they teach you all the ways of doing stuff according to the rules of ISKCON, which even the gurus are not messing with that. The Kanista initiators are not messing too much with the basic teaching. You learn all the basic teaching, then you can do what Shreya is doing, sit at home, and you know everything to do. You know all the prayers, you know how to cook, you know everything according to Prabhupada's standard.
Yes, Prabhu, because when you're in a spiritual path, you need to feel happy about it. That happiness is lost in all this confusion and chaos. So that is where I'm trying to, shift all the focus, whether it is Bhanu Prabhu or anybody. They all are going through that phase of irritation. It's an irritation because we're not getting the answers that we're looking for, and that is happening because they are not. If you're asking a physics teacher maybe a question of chemistry, of course she's not going to be able to answer it. So that's as simple as that. The particular person you're talking to is not capable of giving you the answer, and that we don't realize.
Exactly.
We only have the self doubt. We start doubting whether I'm doing it correctly. Is this the way to do it? So we are stuck with that. But instead, a physics teacher would probably give me a different way to think how to solve the problem. Instead
Exactly.
of.
That's very wonderful. So you can look at the ISKCON temple if you need it at all to learn stuff as a resource, like going to the library. You can go to the library. That doesn't mean you have to stay in the library, or worse yet, you don't have to become a librarian. You just go to the library, get the information you want, and go out, or go to a class, study the class, see what the physics is or the chemistry is. Then you go back home, and then use that information yourself.
Right. Yes, Prabhu.
Wonderful, Jai. We got Tulsi Pati from, he's from Rajasthan, I think. Huh?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, he's joining us after a long time. Tulsi Pati Prabhu, I'll unmute you. Go ahead.
So what happened to Vashish?
Vashish left.
Oh.
Okay. Tulsi Pati Prabhu, go ahead. Haribol.
We were heavily into a topic.
Jai. How are you, Prabhu? Long time no see.
Yeah, Prabhu. I was lost in lockdown.
Acha. How's the kids doing?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. The classes are going on.
Acha, online, huh? Everything
Yeah.
online.
Yes. Actually, it's good. It's good. I was very much worried that they are going to school and they will be spoiled there.
Uh-huh.
So now at least for 2-3 years they will be they will have to
Ah.
stay at home.
Yeah, they get prasadam at home. They have association
Yeah.
with mom and dad.
Yeah,
Whatever
and
COVID is really
yeah,
beneficial.
we are doing like Aarti every day. I'm doing morning, evening, so they are
Chai.
joining. But
Very cool.
before, because they were too busy, either they would go to school or they have to do some homework, so they were too busy.
Acha.
But now now it's like they are free, so they can they can always morning, evening, they
Yeah,
attend the Aarti.
it's called
So we can,
homeschooling. And it's better
yeah,
than classrooms.
yeah. So we can see the change in them. Practically, there are so
Wow.
many changes in them.
Chai. Homeschool. Chai.
Yeah.
Homeschool and Prabhupada.
Prabhu, I just wanted to ask you, is it possible that during our meetings you can ask everyone, what is that small change that they've noticed in the last few days? Or, if they want to share something like how Tulsi Prabhu is doing, because we also learn from, all of you who are following. Maybe we don't know how to even get started that way. So it will be great if you can make it a point to ask what is that one step of advancement you have seen or felt during the last week, so that's like putting us back on track and not just
A specific realization.
yes, need to make that one push to move forward every single day. So I feel
Yeah, Mataji Prabhu, actually the thing is that the first thing I realized, I used to think, how it will be, if I go to, in a farm community, and how will I survive? But actually now I found, because everything is closed, my business is closed. So I'm at home, I have nothing to do. But actually it's much, much better, I am able to devote, my time in devotional service. So it is actually much, much better. So I actually, what Prabhupada says, that save time. So that is actually is practical, that we should save time as much as we can.
So we are cursed, but the curse is a blessing.
Chai.
Hare Krishna, Tulsi Pati Prabhu. Where do you live in Rajasthan, Prabhu? I'm from Jaipur. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Me too, Prabhu. I have seen you. I think I have seen you in
Temple several
Hare
times.
Krishna Center. Yeah, Hare Krishna Center.
Hari Bol, I'm always there only, mostly after my job.
Okay.
So,
no, I actually go to Hare Krishna community, but I think I have seen you maybe once or twice. Maybe you were there.
yeah.
So
you're in Jaipur only right now? Placed out to
yes,
Jaipur?
Yes. I'm in Jaipur.
Where is it in Jaipur?
Malviya Nagar.
Oh, great. I'm in Pratap Nagar, so
yeah.
Anytime
actually,
coming
our
here.
center. Yeah.
Yeah,
actually,
sorry,
our center is in Pratap Nagar. It's
Okay.
Hare Krishna Center. It is in Pratap Nagar.
Yeah,
we go to NRI.
It has been founded by the ex of Hare Krishna movement, right? Some ex-devotee, right? I know that.
There only Nitai Das. He actually he started.
Okay.
Previously he's on Bangalore, but then
Yeah.
he left and then he started.
Great.
It was like. Okay. Somebody's medicine. I have to take medicine. Open medicine.
All right. So, Hare Krishna. Should we? How's things going? Should we end it now or? Prabhu's, what's the
Yes.
consensus?
Yes. Let's end it.
Huh?
Who is Divya in the group? Are you looking at
covered some important territory.
Oh yeah. Someone is making nonsense comments about someone else.
Yes. Some boyfriend girl. What is this, bro? Who's this?
Yeah, it's some spam, so I will not accept them.
Oh, really? Coming from outside
Seriously, bro,
altogether?
people can spam personal Zoom call also. How is that possible?
They're
No,
hacking the Zoom call.
probably Ramchandra Prabhu must have allowed the person, and without knowing whether the person is supposed to be here. So somebody must have heard on YouTube or got a link, or I don't know if somebody just renamed, came to say whatever they had. But yeah, I'm glad that somebody in the negative thoughts are also hearing us out. So that'll purify them.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I removed them, so no worries.
Yeah,
You know, it's because this is going live. You know, I guess people are watching and they want to participate. So they come up with a fake name, or is
Yeah,
this
they don't know how lucky they are.
right?
They come
So
in to disturb, but they actually become entranced.
right. So
Enchanted.
that's the thing with the public meetings. You know, people see it and they like it and they want to join in. They want to say nonsense, or they want to do all kinds of nonsense.
Yeah.
So
So why don't
is-
why don't we end here?
sounds good.
Is
Haribol.
that Rupa
Yeah.
Manjari?
Yes.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So
I think
We
it-
can end here. Does anybody have something on their heart that they have
Shreya
to say?
Prabhu, your voice is not coming clear. It's like
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
So I was
Very
just
good.
saying it's a test for all those people who are watching us live. They're testing us. They're testing how easily can we be shaken off a balance. And to that I just say Hari Bol.
Bro,
That's
can
it.
we just
We
off
can
it off?
end it.
It's time, please.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll end it here. Next
Yeah.
meeting will be on
Hare
Wednesday.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Remember,
Krishna.
we're speaking
Dandavat
as spirit
pranam.
soul,
Hare
not
Krishna.
as a body. Never mind the body. Speak as
Haribol.
spirit soul.
Hare
Direct-
Bol,
Pari
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
No
Tulsi Pari
culture, no
Prabhu.
race of
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Can we see the
Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Oh, God.
Hare Krishna, there you are.
Wow.
Oh, you wonderful children. I knew it couldn't be over yet. It's because of you. It's so nice to see you.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
बहुत अच्छा लगा आपको देख के। हाँ आपको भी
All right, Prabhus, we'll end it here. So next meeting will be on Wednesday. So please kindly join on Wednesday if you guys have time.
And I'll
Okay,
try to
sure.
get, Vashish never was able to finish that conversation we had.
We'll
But that'll
continue
give us
next
a chance
time.
to do a little research in between too.
All right. Hare Krishna, Prabhus. All
Hare
glory to
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Bol,
glories to
Hare
Srila
Bol,
Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare.
Hare